You are here because you were sent here. You were told to come here and then you obeyed.
In the world of Matrix, the concept of free will is frequently pondered, but often in a way that encourages us to look deeper than the mere notion of being in control of our own lives. It invites us to explore uncomfortable and counterintuitive explanations. For instance, the encounter with the enigmatic character, the Merovingian. In the second film presents a deterministic perspective that undermines the idea of true freedom and control over our choices. This compelled the audience to accept that neither Neo nor the others will truly be master of their own destiny. It introduces a thought process aimed at proving that every action is predetermined by the unyielding law of causality.
Causality. Action, reaction. Cause and effect.
Everything begins with choice.
No, wrong. Choice is an illusion created between those with power and those without.
With a hint of content, the Merovingian emphasizes how both his interlocutors and himself are trapped in a relentless machinery of causality. This realization leaves only the illusion of decision-making, stripping away true freedom and control over choice.
You see, I have sent her a dessert. A very special dessert. I wrote it myself. It starts so simply. Each line of the program creating a new effect, just like poetry. First, a rush, heat, her heart flutters. You can see it now, yes? She does not understand why. Is it the wine? No. What is it and what is the reason? And soon it does not matter. Soon the why and the reason are gone. And all that matters is the feeling itself. And this is the nature of the universe. We struggle against it, we fight to deny it, but it is, of course, pretends it is a lie. Beneath our poised appearance, the truth is we are completely out of control. Causality. There is no escape from it. We are forever slaves to it.
By reminding them of this universal law, the Merovingian seeks to demolish any belief in the possibility of genuine choice. He emerging as an opposing force to the oracle, using pure logic to demonstrate that choice itself is an impossibility. On a universal scale, it is merely the outcome of predetermined programming. This notion implies that we are all ensnared in the internal cycle dictated by the system. The Merovingian's elegance and alluring gesture eloquently portray the diabolical role of the tempter, whose aim is to sow confusion and doubt in the mind of mortals. He ignites the mind of those who consider freedom of choice as a foundational principle, as he grants meaning to their existence. This process is often employed by science to purportedly demonstrate that we are not truly free in our own decision-making, attributing the majority of our behavior to biological explanations, present life as a conditioned and predictable production. While this perspective holds some truth, it is not absolute. In other words, we are neither entirely product of our conditioning nor entirely free agents. Furthermore, although the Merovingian seems to have fully embraced the understanding that the chain of causality grants him power, he struggled to conceal his frustration at the ability to transcend it and glimpse beyond. This frustration later manifests as a desire to possess a treasure belonging to the oracle.
The eyes of the oracle.
Why desire to possess the oracle eyes if not to see what lies beyond his reach? namely to perceive beyond causality. When confronted with the question of choice, the oracle assumes a markedly different position. For her, it's not solely the act of choosing that holds significance.
Because you didn't come here to make the choice. You've already made it. You're here to try to understand why you made it.
Throughout our lives, we are invariably confronted with decisions, ranging from trivial to momentous. However, to experience fulfillment, we do not necessarily require certitude in actively making these choices, as we already possess the intuitive sensation of doing so. We inherently believe ourselves to be the masters of our own choices, even though this may not always be the case. Hence, what matters most is not solely the possession of free will as the capacity to choose, but also the possession of free will as the ability to align ourselves with our chosen path. In essence, it's not merely the act of choosing that carries weight, but the underlying motivation behind our choices and how we navigate the consequences.
We can never see past the choices we don't understand.
The oracle offers us the opportunity to transcend boundaries, granting him access to a profound comprehension of his own destiny and guiding him towards self-discovery. Her intention had never been to manipulate Neo's choices, but rather to aid him in comprehending them. Up until the encounter with the Merovingian, Nero's journey had been predominantly preordained, akin to a prophecy that left minimal room for his free will, except through introspection. An execution of a program was dictated by a succession of equations. Neo simply unfolds his code along a predetermined path. It is only through his encounter with the source that he would attain the ability to surpass this previously unyielding conditioning. The pivotal confrontation with the architect of the Matrix, assuming a paternal figure resembling ancient biblical depictions, signifies an essential step toward transcendence and the inception of the collapse of an illusory world. The architect presents himself as such.
I created the Matrix.
Conveys to Neo that his immaculate creation could not maintain harmony due to the imperfections of human beings, necessitating the integrations of Neo's systemic anomaly into his equations. At that moment, Neo represents the sixth incarnation, potentially elucidating the presence of the wall of screens observed during the interrogation scene at the outset of the first Matrix. These myriad images of Neo might symbolize alternative choices or alternate versions of himself under the constant surveillance of the architect. The scene commences with the depiction of the cosmos, accentuating its occurrence beyond the confines of space and time, within an environment that induces a transformation of consciousness. This is where Neo will realize that he is a glitch in the system, causing disruptions in the original equations.
Choice. The problem is choice.
The essence of choice, the predicaments lie within the choices. Every choice that has come his way so far carries the mark of duality. Follow the right rabbit or not. Opt for the red or blue pill. Accept or reject a tempting cookie. Decisions such as choosing between his own life or that of Morpheus. Taking or refusing the red candy offered by the oracle, baffling Smith or evading him, and even selecting between the left and right door in the architect's chamber. Scenarios expose the binary nature of this world and the calculated trap that ensnares both the viewer and the characters.
A harmony of mathematical precision.
A harmonious balance governed by mathematical precision, disturbed by an anomaly that was initially eradicated but then resurrected. This anomaly, in its quest to overcome its adversary, divided and multiplied to the point of losing its own identity. It is here that Neo faces a pivotal choice. Not one for others to make on his behalf, but for him to truly understand, as predicted by the Oracle. He must transcend the binary equation of 0 and 1 and ascend to a trinity of choices, a mathematical prophecy that echoes the birth of a new world. Thus, faced with the dilemma of saving humanity or saving Trinity, he defies all rationality, joins her, and rejects the inevitability of his own demise, embracing the hope of ending the war.
Hope. It is the quintessential human delusion, simultaneously the source of your greatest strength and your greatest weakness.
The tribe presented to Neo aims to evaluate his capacity to embody what the Merovingian and Persephone have sensed within him, to courageously accept the consequences of ultimate disobedience and surpass all logical constraint by defying the relentless law of causality. This journey propels him toward a profound transcendence. Neo advances, eradicating ignorance, overcoming doubts and errors, progressing towards understanding the invisible principle that underpins internal truth. He stands on the precipice of revelation. Like a true initiate, he must shed all pretenses, relinquishing that which restrains him in order to surrender completely. Since the very beginning of his journey, Thomas Anderson has been immersed in a rigid and hierarchical world. As long as he abides by the rules imposed by the system, nothing significant happens to him. He is conditioned, trapped within the confines of his own identity. The embodiment of control constantly reminds him of his condition by repetitively uttering his name.
You have a problem with authority, Mr. Anderson. The time has come to make a choice, Mr. Anderson.
You're Thomas A. Anderson.
Mr. Anderson.
Mr. Anderson. Mr. Anderson. Mr. Anderson.
This repetition holds great significance, for it keeps his mind imprisoned in the lowest level of human consciousness. In our own lives, this bombardment commences during early childhood. As soon as language is imparted to us, we learn to recognize, articulate, and inquire about our own name and the names of others. It is at this point that the process of identification is set into motion, a programming that essentially grafts qualities and flows onto our developing sense of self. From recognition to humiliation, acceptance to rejection, trust to betrayal, fairness to injustice, and companionship to abandonment, our minds become subject to turbulence, identification, and conditioning. We become accustomed to having all our behaviors influenced by the mechanisms of victory and success, reward and punishment, favoring the games of influence and persuasion over the goodwill and noble intentions. The cheerful and delicate window into the world that our childhood represents gradually get consumed by a society that only acknowledges what it can possess, categorize, and label. It will take us for what Jung called the persona, the identity mask we all wear. Yet, as the philosopher Kierkegaard wisely stated, to give me a name is to annihilate me. By assigning a name to me, by labeling me, you erase all the other possibilities of what I could be. Remember, initially called Thomas Anderson, then Neo, and eventually the One. Each designation carried the weight of the function it represents, conditioning his perception of himself. Whether these names were flattering or contemptuous, they all bore the imprint of conditioning. But to fulfill oneself, an initiate must free themselves of this burden because it veils the truth of who they are. This also implies distancing oneself from their own community and the expectations projected onto them in order to truly meet oneself and reveal their own uniqueness. However, to achieve this, one must also reconcile opposites, integrate polarities, and understand their duality, but everything carries within it its opposites.
I just thought, you were a guy.
This dynamic of polarity is evident in the relationship between Neo and Trinity. Trinity manifests through a distinctly masculine demeanor for combat prowess and hacking skills. She exhibits natural leadership qualities.
Dodge this.
As seen in her direct and assertive tone when addressing Neo.
Get in. Lie back. Lift up your shirt. And since I am the ranking officer on this ship, if you don't like it, I believe you can go to hell. Because you aren't going anywhere else.
This masculine tone is also apparent in the iconic kissing scene, playfully subverting the traditional archetype of the charming prince whose genuine love revives the beloved.
You hear me? I love you.
Conversely, we witness a hero growing increasingly sensitive, vulnerable, and embracing a more feminine disposition.
I'm scared, Trey.
This interplay of inversion is scattered throughout the film, serving as a reminder that appearances can be deceiving. Smith and Neo share a profound connection, united by their propensity for disobedience. This inclination to break free to defy norms underscore the fundamental need to find meaning in life, to discover one's purpose, role, and mission. This journey inevitably involves shedding the conditioned self, undergoing a symbolic death. The same life force that drives Neo toward knowledge propels Smith toward expansion. Both traverse the path of opposite and eventually converge at the intersection of uniqueness. If Neo seeks peace, he must liberate himself from conditioning, transcending the limitation of his beliefs. He must embrace faith and transform his shadow, unveiling his true essence. Battles with Smith beyond their thrilling actions symbolize Neo's path, a voyage to the other side of the mirror, a profound introspection to confront personal demons. It is through decisive action, mastery, and fluidity that he will bend his mind and perception, finding equilibrium in stillness, non-action, and surrender.
What are you trying to tell me? That I can dodge bullets?
No, Neo. I'm trying to tell you that when you're ready, you won't have to.
We should go through an internal alchemy, turning the heaviness of our minds into something precious, transmuting our shadows into illumination. Neo initially believes that it is through combat that he can overcome an external adversity. However, the more he fights, the stronger his enemy becomes, and the adversity grows. The struggle continues until he realizes that opposing forces cancel each other out. When the mind aligns with a state of pure consciousness, an inner realm devoid of personal conflicts and duality, a space where battles cease to exist, that is when awakening happens. It is a sacred experience that occurs when a human minds make a profound decision to live under these conditions. And regardless of the circumstances, deep within, Neo knows that he will achieve his goals.
It was inevitable.
Once he embraces this realization, his subconscious becomes inexorably tied to the desired outcome.
I know you're out there. I can feel you now. I know that you're afraid. You're afraid of us. You're afraid of change. I don't know the future. I didn't come here to tell you how this is going to end. I came here to tell you how it's going to begin. I'm going to hang up this phone, and then I'm going to show these people what you don't want them to see. I'm going to show them a world without you. A world without rules and controls, without borders or boundaries. A world where anything is possible.